All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle one of the biggest mysteries in business today. Why do so many amazing strategies, these bold, brilliant plans, just end up collecting dust on a shelf? Well, the answer, it turns out, is all about that huge, massive gap between making the plan and actually getting it done.
You know, the legendary coach Vince Lombardi really hit the nail on the head. He said the best game plan in the world never blocked or tackled anybody. And it's so true, right? A genius plan is totally worthless if it just sits on a piece of paper. It's the action, the implementation that actually wins the game. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. How to turn those strategic thoughts into real, tangible strategic actions.
So why do these awesome, well-thought-out strategies fail so often? That's a great question. And honestly, it's usually not because the idea itself was bad. Nope. The real breakdown, the place where everything falls apart, is in that jump from thinking about it to actually doing it. That's the big hurdle where most companies, well, they just stumble and fall. Okay, so here's the core of the problem. Think of it like this. Strategy formulation and strategy implementation are almost like speaking two different languages. Formulation, that's the big ideas part. It's an intellectual game focused on effectiveness, basically picking the right things to do. But implementation, that's all about operations. It's focused on efficiency, on doing those things right. And that shift is exactly what makes it so incredibly hard. It's not about one brilliant moment of genius anymore. It's about coordinating hundreds, maybe thousands of tiny daily actions, all pulling in the same direction.
So, how in the world do we build a bridge over that giant gap between the plan and the action? Well, it all starts by taking that grand, beautiful vision and breaking it down into concrete, bite-sized steps. Steps that every single person in the organization can actually understand and, more importantly, execute.
The very first tool in our toolbox for this is setting crystal clear annual objectives. And I'm not talking about those vague, feel-good goals like, let's improve performance. No way. These have to be super specific, measurable milestones. So, for example, instead of just saying increase sales, a really good objective sounds more like this. Increase sales of brand X to exactly 1,000 units, which will bring in $20,000 in revenue this year. See the difference? That level of clarity, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
And why are these objectives so ridiculously important? Well, because they're basically the foundation for everything that comes next. Think about it. They tell you exactly where your money and people should go. They give you a clear yardstick for evaluating how your managers are doing. They let you track your progress towards those big long-term goals. They set the priorities for everyone. And maybe most importantly, they're the guardrails that keep the whole strategic plan from veering off the road.
Okay, so if the objectives are the what we're trying to achieve, then policies are the how we're going to do it. They're the day-to-day rules of the road, the specific guidelines that make sure we're all working towards those objectives. You know, a simple policy like all our stores will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's a perfect example. It gives clear direction, it stops managers from having to make the same decision over and over again, and it just lets everyone know what's expected of them. Simple, but powerful.
All right, so you've got your goals, you've got your rules. What's next? Well, now you need the right machine to put it all into motion. And that machine, that's your company's organizational structure. And here's the key. It absolutely must be designed to serve your strategy. So, how can you tell if your machine is, broken? Let's do a quick checkup. Ask yourself this. Are you or your team constantly stuck in meetings that go nowhere? Are different departments always fighting their own little turf wars? Are you watching smaller, faster rivals eat your lunch? Listen, these aren't just minor headaches. They are massive red flags telling you that your organizational structure is actively getting in the way of your strategy.
Now, when it comes to structure, there are two classic flavors, and each comes with a trade-off. First, you've got the functional structure. This is where you group people by what they do. All the marketing folks together, all the finance folks together, you get the idea. It's simple, it's cheap, and it's great for specialization. The downside, accountability for the big picture gets pushed all the way up to the CEO. Then you have the divisional structure. This is where you create separate business units for, say, different products or geographic regions. The big win here is clear accountability. The head of a division is responsible for its success. But it can get expensive because you're duplicating roles like marketing and HR in each division.
And of course, for huge, complex companies, the structures get even more complicated. You start hearing terms like SBU, Strategic Business Unit, or the matrix structure. But look, we're not going to get bogged down in the jargon here, because the single most important takeaway is always the same. The structure has to be built to support the strategy. It can never, ever be the other way around.
But let's be real. A perfect org chart is just a blueprint, right? It's a diagram on a page. It's totally useless without the right people and the right culture to actually bring it to life. The human element, that's the real engine that makes the whole machine go. It's what drives the strategy forward.
Okay, here's a modern and maybe surprising threat to getting things done. Have you heard of this? It's called phubbing. That's P-H-U-B-B-I-N-G. It's when someone snubs you for their phone. And get this, research actually shows that when a boss phubs an employee, gets distracted by their phone while the employee is talking to them, it seriously undermines trust and hurts that person's job performance. It seems like such a small thing, but it sends a huge message of disrespect, and it can absolutely poison a team's culture.
Now, let's zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture of people. Building a diverse workforce. This is so much more than just a box-ticking exercise or doing the right thing. It is a seriously powerful strategic weapon. It unlocks new ways of thinking, totally fresh perspectives. It helps you understand and connect with a much wider range of customers, and it massively expands the pool of amazing people you can hire from. It gives you a real, tangible competitive advantage.
And on the flip side, a toxic or misaligned culture can be powerful enough to completely torpedo your strategy. I mean, just look at the cautionary tale of Wells Fargo. They had a strategy of market penetration, which translated into this relentless high-pressure culture of cross-selling. What happened? Employees, under immense pressure, ended up opening millions of fake, unauthorized accounts. The result was an absolute disaster, billions of dollars in fines, and a complete meltdown of public trust.
Okay, so you've set your clear objectives, you've built the right organizational machine, you've powered it with a strong, supportive culture. Now it's time to take all of that incredible internal energy and aim it where it really counts, outward, towards the ultimate goal of connecting with the right customer. When it comes to strategic marketing, there's a really clear 3-step playbook. It's actually pretty logical. Step 1, market segmentation. You divide the entire market into smaller, distinct groups of customers. Step 2, target marketing. Now you choose which one or which few of those groups you're actually going to go after. And finally, step 3, positioning. This is where you design your product, your price, your message, your whole marketing mix to offer something unique and valuable specifically to that target you chose. Now, a super powerful tool for that last step, for positioning, is something called a perceptual map. And the best way to think about it is like a battlefield map for a marketer. It's a visual chart that shows you exactly where your brand stands in the minds of your customers, based on key things like price or quality or service. And crucially, where all your competitors are on that same map. Let's make this real for a second. Imagine a map of the car insurance world. You've got price on one axis, from low to high, and customer service on the other, from basic to amazing. Now you can start plotting where customers think the different companies are. Maybe Geico is down in the low price, okay service corner. Maybe State Farm is more in the middle. The second you do this, you can instantly see where the empty spots are, the unclaimed territory. Maybe there's a huge opening for a company that offers really high service, but at a moderate price. It's an absolutely vital tool for finding your strategic sweet spot.
And last but not least, in the world we live in today, you just can't talk about implementation without talking about modern marketing. The old way of just shouting your message at people, that's over. It's dead. Today, it's all about engaging with them, listening to them, and actually building a real two-way relationship. The goal isn't just to sell anymore. The goal is to attract them.
So when you boil it all down, a great strategy is really just the starting line. That's it. The real win, the victory, comes from turning that plan into reality. And that takes clear objectives, the right structure, a supportive culture, and smart marketing that actually connects. Which brings us to the final, big question for you to think about. Your strategy might be a plan to win, but is your organization? Is it truly built for victory?